These are exciting times for women's football in Mexico. At the 2024 CONCACAF Women's Gold Cup, Mexico beat the United States for only the second time in its history, finishing top of its group, though it lost to Brazil 3-0. Despite missing out on the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, women's football is thriving domestically, and there are high hopes that Mexico will soon make a global impact. In this video, I'll show you how the growth of Mexico's domestic league is transforming women's football in the country. The USA often comes to mind when we think of the fight for equal pay in women's sport. And when it comes to professionalizing women's football, we might think of England, but Mexico is a surprising leader too, with a rich and complex history in the game. Let's go back to 1971 when Mexico hosted the second ever Women's Soccer World Championship, an official World Cup of sorts, though not officially recognized by FIFA. In their first match against Argentina, Mexico won 3-1 in front of a crowd of over 80,000. Their next game against England drew a similar turnout, and the final against Denmark set an astonishing attendance record of over 80,000 fans at the Azteca Stadium. Despite massive crowds, the players were not fairly compensated, and before the final, they demanded 2 million pesos, roughly $100,000, from the federation, or threatened to abandon the match. The league reportedly made 9 million pesos, about $450,000, through ticket sales, TV rights, and merchandise. Still, the federation refused to pay, labeling the women's amateurs. Instead, the players were given gifts valued at 5,000 pesos, or just $250. 2 days before the final, Mexico's regent Octavio Santos urged the players to compete to uphold the country's reputation. Mexico eventually lost to Denmark 3-0 before 90,000 spectators. This game marked a defeat and a setback for women's football in Mexico. Media presence around the women's team faded, and the women's league lacked official recognition and stadium access. FIFA even threatened the Mexico Football Federation with a 25,000 pesos fine, which is roughly $1,250 if it continued to support women's matches. They feared the women's game could rival men's soccer, a concern that stifled the growth of women's football worldwide. According to Brenda J. Elsie and Joshua H. Nadell in Football Era, men's matches struggled to draw even 20,000 fans at the time. Historian Giovanni Perez Uriarte defined the Mexican women's team as pioneers in the fight for equal pay, describing their struggle as one of oppression but also of resistance. The foundations they lay in 1971 set the stage for today's players. Years later, in 1998, Leonardo Cuellar became the head coach of the women's national team, transforming it into a competitive force that could qualify for the World Cup and Olympics. Cuellar's 18-year tenure, ending in 2016, left an indelible mark on Mexican women's football. The following year, Liga Mexico Feminil was created to nurture women's football domestically and build a strong talent pool for the national team. Before this, most Mexican players went abroad, particularly to the United States, to pursue their professional ambitions. While this was beneficial in some way, particularly their individual careers, building a solid national team requires strong domestic leagues for continuity and growth. The league initially focused on under-23 players with a few overage spots, all for Mexican-born players. Now regulations have been relaxed. Each team must play under-20 players for at least 1,000 minutes per tournament and support an under-17s league. Foreign players were allowed in the league in the third season, with international player slots gradually increasing to 4 per team. This has attracted star players like US forward Mia Fischel, Nigeria's prolific scorer Uchenna Kanu, Colombian icon Catalina Uzme, and former Barcelona players Andrea Pereira and Jennifer Hermoso. This influx of talent has noticeably raised the league standards. Club America and Mexico's Itzel Gonzalez told ESPN, Since international players joined our league, it has advanced in physicality and tactical play. At the national level, Liga Mexico Feminil's impact is evident across age groups. In 2023, Mexico's under-20 team won the CONCACAF Championship, defeating Canada and the United States in the semi-final and final, respectively. However, at the senior level, the team failed to qualify for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup under head coach Monica Vergara, who was dismissed and replaced by Spain's Pedro Lopez. Lopez brings a stellar record, having led Spain under-19 team to a European title and the under-20 squad to a World Cup victory in 2022. His recent win against the United States in the 2024 CONCACAF tournament suggests Mexico is on the right path. It may be only a matter of time before they emerge as a powerful force in the women's game.